While in my 20s in Chapel Hill, where I was doing my residency in medicine and then in neurology, and they also were kind enough to give me the opportunity to come up to Mass General Hospital for 3 months. I got a call one morning about 2 months after I got back from Mass General, and they had offered me a job at the Mass General. I told them no. I said I'm really set here. I went into my little cupboard where I kept all my books, and I pulled out a pad that I thought was empty. When I opened it, I saw a note that I had made the night before I left Boston. It said, "I know when you get back to Chapel Hill, you'll be taken again by what a wonderful place it is. But if you really want to be a wonderful neurologist, you really need to come back to Mass General."
I was at Trinity College and an economics major, and I wanted to go to Harvard Business School. In fact, at the end of my junior year, I had already interviewed there, but shortly thereafter, I cut a tendon in my right hand and had to have surgery done to fix that. The surgery was done under local anesthesia, so I had an opportunity to basically watch the entire procedure. And it was so fascinating, the anatomy, the challenges, the techniques to repair things, that I had an epiphany and decided I want to be a surgeon. So I had a 180-degree shift in my career plan.
I came out and applied for a job at Mass General. So I took the job in billing service. I met Miss Quinlan. She was one of the supervisors in nursing. She said, "I have a job for you." She said, "I love the way you work. You're always moving, you're always busy." The job was being an orthopedic tech with all of my training. I went to the evening shift in the emergency room. I'll never forget this lady. She said, "Why are you so nervous? Why are you shaking?" I said, "You're my first patient, and did I ever put a cast on?" 3 weeks later when she came back, I just happened to be in the clinic that afternoon. And I seen her, she said, "No, I don't want anyone. I want this young man right here to take care of me." It made me feel like I was the best tech in this state.
I decided to become a primary care physician when I had been involved with various aspects of medicine here, and I realized how much I enjoyed the long-term relationship with patients and help guiding them through the maze at the Mass General. And it's such a pleasure to practice primary care medicine here when you're backed by all the fantastic specialists. I originally intended to go back to Maine and practice medicine. In fact, I took 4 rotating fellowships because Maine needed general internists. But during that process, I sort of learned how much I enjoyed working at Mass General and how it was possible to have ideas in here that would sort of spread around the world.
I'm most proud of the students who I've been able to mentor. I just love those relationships. I always say I took the dean's job for the students, and I tell the faculty now, if you take the very best students and don't ruin them, they turn out all right. The same thing with the very best residents. So a legacy, reputation needs to be maintained and grown, and having the right leadership at institutions provides that. It's a very important thing, and that's what I think I'm really most proud of.
A rewarding aspect of caring for children, whether the prognosis was good or not, has been the continued contact with them over the years. Being invited to a child's wedding, being the second person for the dance at the bar mitzvah because the grandmother went first and I was second, or being told that when they visit the grave of their child that they think of me and the support that I gave them during their very difficult time in the PICU. So there are happy and there are sad endings, but I've found it to be enriching. You're sustained by situations like that.
My father worked as a boss painter at Mass General. And my mother says to him, "You got to get him a job." And that was it. I worked the whole summer. One day I came to work. I was going to work with this guy, do filters. He took the day off. So I was on my own. I got lost for an hour. And all of a sudden I saw 2 guys in blue suits. I said, "I'm going to follow them." They took me right back to the shop. So then at the end of August, went and saw my boss. He says to me, Arnie, when you get out of high school, you come back here. And I've been here ever since.
When I was a senior in high school and decided to pursue nursing as a career, I applied to 3 Boston area hospitals. And when I was accepted at all 3, my parents called our family physician and asked him where he thought I should attend. And he said, most definitely, she should go to Mass General. And that was the best piece of advice I've ever received. I think the best part of being a nurse is the interaction with the surgical team, the patient involvement, and the camaraderie with people that you worked with.
At Revere Health Center, I'm embedded as a psychiatrist really in the offices of the primary care doctors, and also work with a substance dependence team comprised of primary care physicians, nurses, psychologists, recovery coaches. Last year, 60,000 Americans died from opioid overdoses. And if you had told me this 30, 40 years ago, even 10 years ago, I would have said, you're lying. This is just not possible. But we're beginning to see addiction treatment and behavioral health as a core function for all physicians, no matter who they are. And the leadership of MGH is just essential in this.
When I used to assist orthopedic surgeons, that means you see these painful patients, disabled, taken a long time to get better. Always thought that maybe there are other ways. So the new optics came. I said, wow, I think I got something cooking. So I bought the scopes, I bought the cable, bought the light source, and then perfected myself, the whole technique. People wouldn't believe it. So I made a 30 minutes videotape showing every part of the knee. And all these doctors who came in sports medicine, they were doctors from all over the world. Yes, possible, doable, good thing to do.
I've always felt at home at the MGH from the first time I came as a medical student right till today. 50 years ago, our patients were in the Bullfinch building, which is now an administrative building. When I came here as a medical intern in 1967, there were 16 of us in the medical internship group. This year, there were 76 interns. And back in the day, we were all white males. Now the internship class looks like America. So it's a wonderful change, this growth in diversity and new talent coming into the institution.
To be a good nurse, you have to be a good listener. I love to hear their stories. I love to hear, how they came here, what brought them here, what were their symptoms. I love to hear how they deal with these things. I love to hear about their families. It's only sometimes later they come back and they'll tell you, geez, last time I was here, I was down in the dumps, and you took the time to listen to me, and I cherish that.
There were things that reverberated in this hospital from the moment I stepped in the service here. There was a common mentality, a focus upon patient welfare, patient's family welfare. Our hospital director has always been a physician. You always feel that. The inside of his hospital, its core, thinks like a physician. The closeness of collegiality and the sense that despite practical problems that might have arisen at times, people pitched in and did that together. This was a very natural place for me to make my home as long as I could. Natural from the beginning. It's natural now.
I've been at the Mass General for a long time, and from the very beginning I've been quite impressed about the fact that my mentors, the more senior physicians, were primarily interested in the whole patient, their personal problems, their family problems, and not just the doctors. I've always been impressed how the nursing staff and the support staff treat patients as a whole person, not simply as a disease or a scientific problem.
I adored being a hip surgeon. I loved taking care of patients. But at the same time, I had some dissatisfaction with the limitations of what we could offer patients. And because of that, built a laboratory in 1969 and is called the Harris Orthopedic Laboratory. One of the really exhilarating parts of my career began with the invention of total hip replacement, which was done in England primarily by John Charnley. But over time, we began to see more and more a very serious adverse reaction to the implants that we were putting into the hip. And the Harris Lab played an important role in terms of figuring out a better plastic for the joint. We invented a new material called cross-linked polyethylene, and this disease has been completely eliminated.
I come down to the hospital to work because my cousin worked down here. He was a cook and baker kitchen, and they asked me what did I want to do. And they showed me a list of jobs on a piece of paper. I took the kitchen. Louise Hatch, she was director of dietary, and she was my first boss. But there was no plan for me to stay. I mean, I was just going to get till the month was over. She said, well, you can take a couple of days off or leave early. I'm going to pay you and look for what you want. I think I made 2 trips, and I told her that I'm going to stick it out here for a little while. You know, every day isn't a day in heaven, but it's when you see the same people for such a long time, it must be something good about it. It can't be bad, you know. It's like a marriage.
The most special thing about the MTH is the people here. Really extraordinary people.
It's the people who work here, because everybody goes out of their way to do things.
I see colleagues who are doing extraordinary things, and that's a huge stimulus. It reinforces my efforts to do things better.
Incredible staff, incredible physicians, values science to the nth degree.
It contributes to medical science. It takes care of its patients. It's the community hospital as well as the World Hospital.
It's not a one-size-fits-all organization, as many healthcare organizations are today.
It's a very stable, solid organization with great leadership.
Mass General excels as a teaching hospital, a place that's a forerunner in research, and sets a gold standard in patient care.
There really is a culture, you feel it here. It's a culture of excellence and dedication, really the best and the brightest.
Our human spirit is what excites us. And our human spirit is to take care of the people.
People come, patients come to have hope in a new treatment, cutting-edge procedure.
And my colleagues in the hospital, often not even sure what department they're in, what academic rank they have. It doesn't really make very much difference.
Whether clinician, non-clinician, support staff, or whatever, I think people work at Mass General to provide the best care they can for the patient.
And that's the way it is there. Everybody helps everybody.
We are one big family at Mass General.
There are so many opportunities, so many things you can do, so many people who know so much, and you know where to go to find out where they are. It's just a real joy to be here. And it's one of the reasons why, at the age of 82, I'm still here.